Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I am your host, Eric Smith, and today I am talking about Euroschlock Nightmares, edited by Jonathan Raab from Muzzleland Press. This is an anthology, and I'm just going to read the back because I'm not an expert on a certain thing, so I want to let the experts talk. So the back cover copy says, surreal, shocking, salacious. The Euro horror movement of the mid to late 20th century produced a stunning array of nightmarish, surreal, and memorable horror films. Spooky castles, rivers of blood, madmen in torture chambers, lavish color and light, sensual acts of violence, unstoppable armies of saucy vampires, and plaster-faced undead. These are the markers of the dreamlike European contributions to the grindhouse horror cinema. In Euroschlock Nightmares, contemporary North American horror writers pay tribute to the films of this fever dream past. Dario Argento, Mario and Lamberto Bava, Jess Franco, Lucio Fulci, Paul Naschy, Armando de Osorio, Jean Rollin, Michelle Suavi, again, don't know, and more inform and inspire these visionaries to new heights of absurd violence, erotic subtext, spooky atmosphere, and drive-in depravity, including tales of occult terror, sexy bloodsuckers, undead ghouls, fog-shrouded houses of despair, and more. Euroschlock Nightmares delivers a journey into the beating, bloodied heart of lurid continental horror. Need I say more? Well, I will. For the too long didn't watch folks, I'm giving this, I haven't even done it yet. I just finished it, haven't rated it on Goodreads. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I really, really liked this. And yes, it's a collection of short stories inspired by Euroschlock cinema, I guess. I've seen Dario Argento, I've seen Bava movies, Lucio Fulci, maybe some of these others that I wasn't aware of. So we've got all these stories and an introduction, a bit of a intellectual introduction into what Euroschlock is. And then all these different stories. So we have things like Incident at Puzzle Point by Patrick Lacey, Funeral Train by Matthew M. Bartlett. I'm not going to read the foreign title. The translated title, and it is Here in the River of Blood that you will find the truth you sink by Yongjai Gam. I apologize for, I assume I've horribly mispronounced your name. Another one that is in Italian, I believe, but it's Disco of Blood, 1980 by Myrrh Winery. 5 deleted scenes from Vampiro Lamia by Gwendolyn Kist. Countess of Cruelty by Sam Richard. See the Lakes and Die by Thomas Breen. Marcella by Oren Gray. Stay at Home Mom by Krista Carmen. The Blood-Starved Romanian Vampire Women from Space by Sean Malia Thompson. And La Belle Maladie by Tiffany Morris. So there you go. Quick rundown of the stories. So what we have here, very much like an earlier anthology, Behold the Undead of Dracula, Lurid Tales of Cinematic Gothic Horror. The stories in this collection range from some stories that feel like you're simply reading a novelization of a Euroschlock movie. And then you have stories that deal with I'm just going to keep saying Euroschlock movies, such as the very first story by Patrick Lacey, Incident at Puzzle Point. You have a reporter talking to the director of a Euroschlock movie about, well, an incident. But of course, it's not just that. something's going to happen. It is a horror story, but it's not as if you're simply reading a story that could be one of these movies. It's modern day someone talking to someone about these movies and how that affects things, or the effect that that has. And then there are some that affect the trappings of Euroschlock movies in a very modern day setting. My idea of these movies, and this is simply me, I could be wrong, it could be limited experience. I just feel 70s, 80s types of settings. There are some very modern stories in here. One of them, Stay at Home Mom, is, let me just double check just to be sure. Yes, is a modern epistolary story, meaning it's not letters and journal entries, but a vlog and things like that. So instead of a letter, it's a video blog and things like that. So I basically just repeated myself, which I tend to do. But I really, really enjoyed that story. I like where it went, and I liked the use of this modern technology to tell sort of a trashy 70s European horror movie. Gwendolyn Kist's story, 5 deleted scenes from Vampiro Lamia, pronunciation, not my strong suit, is essentially someone in a theater for a special screening of 5 deleted scenes from this movie. But, of course, that's not all it is, because this is a horror anthology. Excuse me. So, as with any anthology, the stories, there's a range of quality in the stories, although I would say the quality of all of these starts pretty high, and then some of them go up even more. Disco of Blood 1980 was a lot of fun, and Here It Is in the River of Blood That You Will Find the Truth You Seek was possibly, that one gave me the most, I think, Lucio Fulci vibes, and is possibly my favorite story in here. But it's, I really like the blood-starved Romanian vampire women from space is the most light-hearted, for lack of a better, I don't even know if that's the right way to put it. The title definitely makes it seem like it's going to be very lighthearted, and there's some weird things in it. There are weird things in all of these. But it still ends up with some craziness. But one of the things, at least with like Lucio Fulci movies, is there isn't always a coherent story in these movies. The Three Gates of Hell movies by Fulci, which I absolutely love, there's some logic missing in, I think, all three. But they're crazy, they're graphic. It's more about the visuals and the feeling, I think. Not an expert, I don't know. But a number of these stories really evoke that feeling. There's not necessarily a logical through line, although there is more in these stories than in a lot of these movies. But it certainly evokes the feeling, the same feelings that the movies evoke, a lot of the same type of imagery. And Judith Sonnet has a book called Hell. The sequel just came out. I haven't picked it up yet. And that's her tribute to like the Lucio Fulci movies. And this is a nice companion to that. Although when I put a link for another video at the end of this one, it is going to be the undead thing that I just read, Behold the Undead of Dracula, because I reviewed that. But yeah, if you like Euroschlock and or just cinema-inspired anthology, very specific type of cinema in this case, then I highly recommend this. I love that cover. If this cover image evokes certain feelings, certain memories, certain ideas of 70s and 80s European films, if you get this image, you're gonna get these stories. 4 out of 5 stars. As I said, it's from Muzzleland Press, edited by Jonathan Raab. Just a great collection of stories. So much fun. I'm a huge fan of Jonathan Raab as an author, and he's doing pretty well as an editor also. All right, I don't know what else to say about it. Euroschlock Nightmares. 4 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend it. Question for this video: are you a fan of Euroschlock horror? I am a fan of what I have seen. As I said, I love the Lucio Fulci Gates of Hell movies, the Gates of Hell trilogy. City of the Living Dead is my favorite of the 3. I know a lot of people that there are movie series, movie trilogies where there seems to be a definitive favorite of a majority of people. While I prefer the original Terminator, most people are going to say Terminator 2. I prefer the original Star Wars, most people are going to say Empire Strikes Back. But with the Gates of Hell trilogy, I don't know if there's a definitive winner. I know people that love The Beyond, and some people that love House by the Cemetery, I believe it is, and then City of the Living Dead is my favorite. Oh, I love the music in that movie. And Giallo falls into this category of Euroschlock, I think, according to the thing. I haven't seen a lot. I really want to watch more Giallo. And I think in the introductory essay, they basically are leaving out like Hammer horror and probably Amicus. I don't know if that's a hard and fast rule, but and I think my experience with European horror of this era and earlier is probably more in the Hammer horror and Amicus range. But I do like what I have seen. I definitely want to see more. I love the weird, surreal atmosphere that a lot of these movies have, and just the visual style. And again, if I had to pick, City of the Living Dead, I believe, is going to be at the top of my list. But what about you? Are you familiar with this subgenre of horror films? Do you have a favorite? Let me know in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here at the Low Budget Review Show. Please like, share, and subscribe. All the usual YouTube stuff. And if you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronan5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, fuzzy animals, is ErikSmith5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH5757. And if you're on Blue Sky, I am @ELSmith. That's all I have for you. This has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Erik Smith, and until next time, read more books.